Let me start with a bold truth that most people never stop to think about. Everyone talks about penetration, position, stamina, performance, but very few ever pause to ask, why does it feel so incredibly powerful, so intoxicating when it's just the tip? Why does a man sometimes slow down, linger, and almost savor that first moment before anything else? And more importantly, why does it drive him so crazy? If you've ever noticed how he reacts when he's right there, just at the edge, just with the tip, you've seen his body language change. His breath catches, his grip tightens, his focus sharpens like there's nothing else in the world except that moment. This isn't an accident. It isn't just some playful tease or random pause. There's a deep psychological and emotional reason why he feels so good with the tip. In fact, there are 5 powerful truths hidden inside this one moment. And when you understand them, you'll not only see your man differently, you'll see intimacy differently. You'll realize that sometimes the smallest gestures hold the biggest power. Key point 1E, anticipation intensifies pleasure. One of the greatest drivers of human desire isn't satisfaction, it's anticipation. Think about it. The moment right before you taste dessert, the second before a kiss lands, tension before a surprise is revealed. Those are often more electrifying than the moment itself. With intimacy, the tip is the embodiment of anticipation. For him, being right there, but not all the way in, creates an unbearable tension that heightens every nerve in his body. He's so close, yet not fully there, and that tease sends his senses into overdrive. When he feels just the tip, his mind is battling with 2 forces: the hunger to take you fully and the thrill of holding back. That contrast is what makes it so powerful. It's like dangling at the edge of a cliff. Your heart races because you're suspended between safety and the plunge. For him, that moment is the edge. The sweetness of almost being there is what makes the actual act of being there so much more explosive. Without that anticipation, the act becomes mechanical. With it, every second is loaded with intensity. This is also why many men instinctively slow down at this point. They know, consciously or not, that once they give in, the anticipation is gone. So they savor it. They want to drink in that moment when the tip is teasing, brushing, or just starting to slip in. That's not him stalling, that's him letting himself drown in the thrill of almost, because almost often feels as good as, or even better than, the actual. Point 2, sensitivity and nerve endings. Let's get real about biology. The tip, or the head, is the most sensitive part of a man's body. It has thousands of nerve endings all concentrated in one place. That means that even the slightest touch, the smallest shift, the faintest bit of warmth, sends electric signals firing through his whole nervous system. It's not just physical, it's neurological overload. When he feels just the tip inside you, he's experiencing maximum sensitivity with minimal contact. That's why it feels so overwhelming. The rest of his body might be engaged, but the tip is where the fireworks are happening. And here's the fascinating part: men are hyper aware of this sensitivity. Even if they can't explain it in words, their bodies know it. That's why many men instinctively pause, close their eyes, or even groan when it's just the tip, because that part of them is screaming with sensation. For women, this is a crucial insight. It means that when you slow down at this point, when you let him linger there, you're giving him a flood of pleasure that's far more intense than just rushing into full motion. Sometimes less really is more. Because in that moment, he's feeling you in the most delicate, powerful way possible, and he knows it. Key point 3T, psychological symbolism of control. Now let's move beyond biology, because intimacy isn't just about the body, it's about the mind. For a man, the tip represents control. Think about it. When he's only at the surface, he's making a choice. He's deciding to hold back, to hover, to pause instead of plunging in. That pause is a display of restraint, and restraint is powerful. It makes him feel like he's not just following his instincts, he's mastering them. This is why many men like to tease at this stage. They'll hover at your entrance, rub just the head against you, or push in halfway and pull back. It's not just play, it's psychology. It's him saying, I could give in right now, but I'm in control. That control makes him feel powerful, dominant, present. It turns sex into more than just release. It turns it into a dance of energy. But here's the twist: this control isn't just about dominance. It's also about connection, because when he holds back, he's tuning into your reactions. He's listening for your breath, your moan, your body's response. That feedback tells him everything he needs to know. And in that space between restraint and release, he feels something deeper than lust. He feels intimacy. He feels like he's reading you, playing with you, connecting with you in the silence before the storm. That's why the tip is so powerful. It's not just the most sensitive part of his body, it's the part that represents choice, restraint, and attention. And when a man combines sensitivity with control, you get a cocktail of emotions that make the moment unforgettable. Now let me pause here, because we've already uncovered 3 layers: anticipation, sensitivity, and control. But we're not done yet. In fact, the next 2 keys are the ones that shift everything. They explain not just why it feels so good for him, but why it creates an emotional bond between you, one that lingers far beyond the bedroom. These final truths are about vulnerability and intimacy, and they reveal why just the tip isn't just about physical sensation, it's about the psychology of love itself. We've talked about anticipation, sensitivity, and control, but now we need to step into the deeper layers, because what makes intimacy unforgettable isn't just biology, it's the psychology and emotions tied to every touch. And this is where most people miss the point. They think sex is all about technique, performance, and intensity, but the truth is the most powerful moments are often the ones that happen in stillness, in subtlety, in the smallest shift of breath. And that's exactly why the tip is so potent. It's where physical sensation collides with emotional depth. K.4Z vulnerability and his pleasure. One of the things few people realize about men is how vulnerable they truly are in intimacy. Society has conditioned men to always look strong, to act in control, to lead with confidence. But when it comes to the tip, when he's right there and every nerve ending is lit up, he's stripped of all that armor. In that moment, he isn't invincible. He isn't untouchable. He's raw. He's exposed. Think about it. He can control his body language in public, his tone in conversation, even his reactions in daily life. But when just the tip is inside you, all of that control collapses. His face changes. His breathing quickens. His sounds betray him. He can't fake it. He can't hide it. And for many men, this is the one place in their lives where they allow themselves to be that open. That's why it feels so good, not just physically, but emotionally, because in that instant, he's not pretending to be anything. He's not wearing the mask of the provider, the leader, the tough guy. He's simply a man overwhelmed by you. And that's rare. That's precious. For a woman, recognizing this vulnerability changes everything. Instead of brushing past it, you can lean into it. You can hold his gaze, touch his face, whisper something in his ear, anything that tells him, I see you. I feel you. I love that you're letting yourself go with me, because what he's craving in that moment isn't just the sensation of his most sensitive part. It's the safety of knowing he can be completely undone in your presence. This is why men often get emotionally hooked on women who know how to make that moment meaningful. It's not about tricks or techniques, it's about presence. If you can make him feel safe in his vulnerability, if you can make him feel celebrated instead of judged, then the bond you create will last far beyond the bedroom. Because now, sex isn't just sex, it's intimacy. It's a place where he feels more like himself than anywhere else. K.Fivi, the illusion of infinity. Now, let's go to the final piece of the puzzle, the deeper symbolic truth of why the tip drives him wild. And this one is going to hit you in a way you may not expect. The tip is the gateway, it's the threshold, it's the place where everything begins. And being at the edge, hovering at the start, gives him the illusion that the moment can last forever. Think about it. Once he fully gives in, the clock starts ticking, the rhythm begins, the act unfolds, and inevitably it moves to a climax. But with just the tip, time stands still. He's not inside all the way, so the journey hasn't truly begun. He's suspended at the edge of infinity. He feels like he could stay there, tasting you, feeling you forever. And that illusion is intoxicating. This is why so many men slow down at the beginning, or pull back to hover their gear again, or even finish faster when they don't pace themselves, because that threshold is so powerful, it scrambles their sense of time. It feels eternal and fleeting at the same time. And that paradox is addictive. Here's the deeper truth for him. Just the tip is more than a sensation. It's an emotional metaphor. It represents longing. It represents the sweetness of desire before it's consumed. It represents the fantasy of wanting without yet having, of hunger that never dies because it's never fully satisfied. That's why it feels so good, because it taps into something primal in him, the eternal chase, the thrill of wanting you endlessly. And if you want to make this moment even more powerful, lean into that illusion with him. Don't rush it. Let him linger. Let him feel that eternity in the edge. When you wrap your legs around him, when you squeeze him closer but don't force him all the way in, you're telling him, I want this moment too. I want this desire to last. That's when he feels not just good, but completely intoxicated by you. Now pause with me here. because I want you to recognize something important. We've covered 5 layers of why he feels so good with the tip: anticipation, sensitivity, control, vulnerability, and infinity. And each one is a world in itself. But when you put them all together, you understand why this tiny, simple moment can sometimes feel more powerful than the act itself. It's not about the mechanics, it's about the meaning. When a man hovers at the tip, he's not just feeling pleasure, he's feeling you. He's feeling your body, your warmth, your energy, your trust. He's feeling the anticipation of something about to happen, the vulnerability of letting himself be seen, the thrill of being in control and out of control at the same time, and the illusion that this could last forever. That cocktail of sensations and emotions is why this drives him wild. It's why men talk about just the tip, not as a joke, but as a truth they can't quite explain. And here's what most people never realize: if you learn how to play with this moment, if you learn how to savor it instead of rushing past it, you unlock a new dimension of intimacy. You turn sex into art. You transform a man's body into not just a partner in pleasure, but a partner in emotion. You teach him that intimacy isn't about how much you do, it's about how deeply you feel. But we're not done yet, because in the final part, I want to take you even deeper. I want to show you how to actually use this knowledge in your relationship, how to take this insight and turn it into a tool for connection, seduction, and love. Because it's one thing to know why he feels so good with the tip. It's another thing entirely to know what to do with that knowledge to keep him hooked on you for life. We've uncovered the 5 truths: anticipation, sensitivity, control, vulnerability, and infinity. Each one explains why he feels so good with the tip. But knowledge without application is wasted. Now the question becomes, what do you do with this? How do you take something as simple as this one small moment and turn it into something that deepens intimacy, electrifies your connection, and keeps him craving you again and again? Because let's be real, men don't become addicted to women just because of physical pleasure. They become addicted because of how a woman makes that pleasure meaningful. The way she takes a simple touch and turns it into an experience he can't forget. The way she combines body, mind, and heart into one unforgettable moment. So let me give you the deeper, practical ways you can lean into this truth and use it to create intimacy that lasts. First, recognize the power of slowing down. One of the biggest mistakes couples make is rushing past the beginning. They get so caught up in the goal, penetration, climax, release, that they skip the magic of the edge. But the edge is where connection is forged. When you let him linger at the tip, you're telling him, I want to feel all of you, but I don't want to rush us. I want to drink in this moment. That mindset alone creates a completely different energy. It makes sex less about getting somewhere and more about being somewhere. Second, engage him emotionally while he's most vulnerable. Remember, the tip is where he's stripped bare, where his guard is down. That's the perfect moment to look into his eyes, to whisper something soft, to let him feel not just your body, but your presence. Say things like, I love how much you want me, or even just a moan that carries emotion instead of mechanics. Those little touches in that moment sink into his subconscious. They tell him, she doesn't just see me as a body, she sees me as a man who's giving himself to her. That changes everything. Third, tease him with the push-pull dynamic. Men are wired for the chase. It's in their psychology to want to pursue, to feel like they're conquering something. When you let him feel just the tip, then pull him back slightly, then let him in again, you're giving him the thrill of pursuit even during intimacy. That you're making him feel like he's constantly on the edge of winning you, even though he already has you. That keeps his desire alive. It's the difference between eating a meal mindlessly and savoring every bite. The tease turns sex from routine into an adventure. Fourth, create the illusion of infinity for yourself as well. Too many women think the tip is only about him, but here's the truth: you can use it for your pleasure too. When he lingers at your entrance, when he teases, when he pauses, your body gets flooded with anticipation as well. Your sensitivity heightens, your own arousal builds. If you allow yourself to lean into that instead of getting impatient, you'll find that you experience him more deeply too. The more you both embrace the edge, the more explosive the eventual release becomes for both of you. Now, let's go even deeper into what this means emotionally, because sex is never just sex. It's a mirror of the relationship. The way a man treats the tip tells you so much about how he sees you. If he rushes past it, if he doesn't savor it, if he treats intimacy like a sprint, often that's how he approaches connection in general. Quick, surface level, onto the next thing. But if he lingers, if he's present, If he teases and savors, you're seeing a man who wants to connect, who wants to taste the journey, not just the destination. And the same is true for you. If you're impatient, if you can't sit in the intensity of that edge, it might reflect your discomfort with vulnerability, because that's what the tip really is. It's an exercise in vulnerability. You're both right there, exposed raw, holding back and yet wanting more. To stay in that place requires trust. It requires comfort with discomfort. It requires surrender, and surrender is the foundation of true intimacy. So here's the bigger truth. Why does he feel so good with the tip? Because in that moment, he's not just feeling pleasure, he's practicing surrender. He's letting go of control. Even when he's trying to hold it, he's allowing himself to be overwhelmed, to be undone, to be vulnerable with you. And for a man, that's one of the most intimate gifts he can give. When you meet him there, when you hold him in that surrender, when you celebrate it instead of rushing past it, you show him that intimacy with you isn't just physical, it's emotional, it's spiritual, it's something that changes him. And that's why some men can have countless partners and still not feel fulfilled, because no one slows down enough to meet them in that place. No one celebrates the tip as more than just foreplay. But when you do, when you turn that moment into an experience instead of a checkpoint, you become unforgettable. You become the one he compares every other woman to, because you didn't just give him sex, you gave him intimacy. So let me leave you with a challenge. The next time you're with your man, don't rush, don't skip the edge. Let him linger. Tease him. Look him in the eyes. Whisper something that makes him melt. Wrap your legs around him and hold him there for a moment, not because you don't want more, but because you want to savor everything. Show him that you're not afraid of anticipation, of vulnerability, of infinity. Show him that you want to experience the journey as much as the destination. Because when you do, you'll see it in his reaction. You'll feel it in the way his body responds, in the way his breath changes, in the way he clings to you tighter than ever. And later, when he's lying there with you, exhausted and satisfied, he won't just be thinking about the act. He'll be replaying that moment when you let him feel everything with just the tip. He'll remember how you made him feel, not just in his body, but in his soul. That's the secret. That's the power. And that's why he feels so good with the tip, because it's not just pleasure. It's psychology. It's vulnerability. It's love in its rawest, most unguarded form. And if you want to build a relationship that lasts, if you want to make a man not just want you, but cherish you, never underestimate the smallest moments. Because sometimes it's not the grand gestures, not the elaborate techniques, not the fireworks that bind two people together. It's the quiet, intimate pause at the edge. It's the tip. So remember this. You don't need to do more to make him feel more. You just need to be more present, more attuned, more willing to embrace the beauty of the edge. That's what makes love unforgettable. That's what makes you unforgettable. And if this opened your eyes, if it made you think about intimacy in a whole new way, don't just let it fade. Carry it with you. Try it, live it, and watch how your connection transforms. If this changed the way you see intimacy, hit that subscribe button right now, because every day I'm giving you deeper truths about love, sex, and connection that you'll never hear anywhere else.